Hi there everybody, Dave here from HeyUGuys, and today we will be talking about Transformers: The Last Night. I am joined by the wonderful Scott J. Davis.
Hello, everyone.
And the wonderful no one else, because Stefan has gone off to Glastonbury, Zara didn't want to join us, John hasn't seen it, and there we go. So Scott, you are the man with the golden touch, who is going to talk all about Transformers. So do you want to start by just telling us what it's about and give us your thoughts?
I can. So this is the fifth Transformers movie in the ridiculously successful franchise that's grossed billions and billions of dollars around the world and is going to keep going into other parts. In the new one, at the end of Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime was looking for his creators, if memory serves. So at the beginning of the movie, you see him kind of floating in space, heading towards some sort of Cybertron planet or something or other. But it also transpires that the Transformers are intrinsically linked to the history of the world, including England and King Arthur and Merlin. Yes. Tenuous. Basically what happens at the beginning is Merlin, played by Stanley Tucci, and a very funny cameo, one of the very few highlights of the film. And there's a Transformers ship that's crashed in the kind of English valleys. He makes a deal with the Transformers, and he gets kind of their power to win the battle, whichever battle it is. I don't know my history very, very well. And then it transpires later in the film that Mark Wahlberg's character and Laura Haddock's character, and to a degree Anthony Hopkins' character, are kind of linked to it through their history and through their bloodline.
Say those characters again. So Laura Haddock?
Laura Haddock plays a historian and a teacher, I think she is as well, a lecturer, called Vivian Wembley. And Mark Wahlberg obviously plays Cady Yeager, who was in the previous movie.
Yeah, and did you say that he is... So just to be clear, everybody, I haven't seen the film yet. Scott's the only one who has. So I'm going to sort of be quizzing him about this. But and so therefore, because it's only one person has seen the film, obviously this is Scott's opinion, and he also wrote our official review. So that... what he says is sort of what Hey You Guys think as a site, because he wrote the review. Normally we try and get more people on who've seen the film so that we can actually discuss it slightly wider. Obviously today we can't do that, so it's all on you, Scott. So sorry, did you say that Mark Wahlberg's character was linked somehow to the Transformers?
Yeah, I won't.
That's cool. But my main question there is, in the previous film, where he stumbles across Optimus Prime in a cinema that just happens to be a truck in a cinema that no one noticed, of all the people on the entire planet, he happened to be one that's somehow linked to the Transformers.
I should preface by saying that Laura Haddock's character is more kind of intrinsically linked. Okay. Wahlberg isn't as intrinsically linked, but he is linked in this kind of weird roundabout historical way in terms of the subtitle will give you a hint as to how perhaps he
tenuous.
But they're brought together by basically what happens is at the beginning, Mark Wahlberg's character is kind of on the run from the authorities and from the government because of him helping the Autobots in the previous movie. He's now kind of split from his daughter. He's let her go and live her life, and he's kind of hiding out in like this scrapyard in like a Texas desert place where he's harboring Autobots who are now fugitives and being hunted by the government. And through this, he's brought to England by Anthony Hopkins' character, Sir Edmund Burton, and he's the one who explains all about the mythology and the history of the Transformers, which is linked to King Arthur, etc., etc., etc. At the other end of the scale, the Decepticons and this new character, I can't remember her name, but she's like Isabela Moner. No, there's a female Transformer who wants to build a new Cybertron on Earth, and obviously only one planet can take up space at a time, so that all comes crashing down, and hence where kind of the big action set piece of the film comes from.
So I absolutely love the first Transformers film. I think it's possibly one of my favourite films of all time, which does probably not say a lot about me. I really like Michael Bay as a director. I think I love the sort of military aspect of things. I love the cars. There's not many Michael Bay movies I don't like. Saying that, first Transformers I love, the second, third and fourth I really didn't. They're so long, they're really confusing as to what's going on. Does the fifth one... Have you seen the first one, Scott?
I've seen all of the Transformers movies.
So does so I heard, because everyone always complained that the cuts between sequences are all messy and it's hard to keep up. Does this film go back to the first one where it makes a bit more sense, or is it still a mess and is it too long?
It is still a mess. It is still too long, although I will say that this is shorter than all the movies since the first one.
How long is this one?
So this one is 2 hours 29
isn't it?
minutes.
Yeah, so that's still
So the
very
last
long.
one was 2 hours 45 minutes.
Blimey, okay.
So it's shorter than the last one. But yeah, I think it's this is a better film than the second, the third, and the fourth. But that isn't saying a lot because it's still not very good. The first movie is fantastic. I mean, it is fantastic in terms of a proper summer blockbuster movie that's fun, that's entertaining, has loads of action, has loads of great, as you say, Michael Bay is great when he's on point.
I
And
just
he's
love
got
the military, the way they bring in the military, and just the music with Steve Jablonsky's music. Everything worked. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I watch it quite often, and
it's great. The first one.
My two children haven't seen it, so I was thinking this morning. I need to check what rating it is to see if they're allowed to see it, because they're only 6 and 3. But do you know what? It's they love Transformers, so why not, right? Unless it's
why not? I think it's a 12. I don't think there's too much language.
Okay, if it's a 12, I might struggle, but
perhaps it's all the shots of Megan Fox as a mechanic in a proper mechanic.
Daddy-wise, Megan Fox not wearing many clothes, leaning over a car.
Is that what a mechanic wears? That's what they wear. But I think the one thing I will say, and I put in my review, that I don't ever think that Michael Bay is wholly to blame, because with this one particularly, they shot it on IMAX, and I think it's about 98% shot on IMAX cameras.
Yeah.
And it really helps
3D.
to kind of...
Isn't it the first film to be shot natively in IMAX 3D, I think?
IMAX 3D, yeah. So it's all IMAX, all shot in 3D, etc., etc. So I think because he gets a bigger canvas to do his stuff on, it doesn't feel as cluttered in the action sequences. They actually breathe a little bit better. But the story is just nonsensical and preposterous and just plain stupid. The first sort of hour or so is actually quite decent fun, and then it becomes a Transformers movie again, and it just gets bogged down by terrible dialogue, terrible acting, and even though the set pieces are quite good, you don't care about what's happening. You haven't been invested in the characters enough to actually care with this another end of the world scenario. You just don't care, and you think, well, part of you is just like, well, it's gonna, whatever happens. You don't care for any of the characters, bar a very, very funny Jim Taylor, who we spoke to at the premiere as Cogsman, who's
Jim Carter.
Jim Carter, sorry, yeah. Who's the robot butler of Anthony Hopkins' character, and he's very, very funny and very droll. So he lightens the mood a little bit, but yeah, it just becomes the same old nonsense again. And it's one of it's one of those with a lot of other franchises where you look at, say, Pirates of the Caribbean in particular, where you just think, from a creative point of view, it's time to maybe stop and do something a little bit different. Maybe it is worth, now Michael Bay kind of moving aside and letting another director bring something to the table if they're going to go 6 and 7, which they are, because this movie will make so much money that dictates, obviously, the studio still putting money into it. I mean, the budget
can't not. You can't not, if you've got a movie that's going to make $1 billion, you can't not make another film. You just can't do it. As a business.
Yeah, this is their big item, isn't it? This is their big thing. And the budget for this one is about $260 million just for the production, which is insane amount of money. But they know that particularly in the foreign markets, China, Japan, etc., over here, they'll make a lot of money, and that's where the big chunk of their money will come from. It's the same as like Fast and Furious. It only grossed, I think, 230 million in the States so far, but overseas it's cracked $1 billion. So it's going to keep going, because it's such a big commodity and it makes so much money. But I think creatively, if they're going to do these spin-offs and sequels and everything else, and they've obviously got this writer's room now, we spoke to some of the writers, and there's like 12 of them coming up with ideas and everything else. I think maybe it needs a new bit of input from a new director or someone with someone that could bring something different to it that isn't just a Michael Bay film. I think Michael Bay should just go and make Michael Bay films now and just leave. But when we spoke to him the other night, he seems so tied to it that
we spoke to him so obviously on Sunday at the premiere and the 13 Hours junket, and we asked him about, whenever we speak to him, we always ask him about Bad Boys, because I really want a third Bad Boys movie. But he went at the 13 Hours junket, he was like, I just can't let go of Transformers. And Ridley Scott said exactly the same thing when we spoke to him about Alien. It's their baby, it's what they're just so invested in it. So I do think when time comes for a new director to come on, he'll still be hugely involved. I mean, we'll see his name as a producer credit without question, and I'm sure that he'll be more involved than maybe the studios will let on. Just moving slightly different topic. Obviously, Josh Duhamel comes back for his fourth outing, because I think he missed one movie. And there's also Isabela Moner, who is the new character in this movie. Was it good to see Josh back, Scott? And how did Isabela fare? Because we've both interviewed her, and she's super lovely, really, really nice person, and I think really excited to be part of such a huge franchise.
Yeah, I think with Josh Duhamel's character, I think he was one of those characters that could have been anybody. It didn't need to be Josh Duhamel. I think they obviously brought him back to kind of tie in, because his character is quite I say conflicted, in the sense that he's obviously got a history with the Transformers, and they've been there and kind of saved humanity and everything else. So when he's working for this new task force that's assigned to wipe them out, he's obviously quite conflicted. But that character could have been anybody. That's no thing to Josh Duhamel's talent as an actor. It could have been anybody. But he's fine in the movie. Isabela Moner is one of the new characters they've added in, and she's quite good, although she's not in it a huge amount.
Is she not?
No, I mean she is and she isn't, because they change. Not to give any spoilers away, but she's in America. So when the movie transports to England, which is a huge chunk, it's just Mark Wahlberg that's over there.
Okay.
You do see her again a little bit later, but there's a huge chunk where it's Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, and Laura Haddock. So that's
dog.
To say about the dog, the amazing dog that was at the premiere as well, walking there.
Yeah, I missed the dog. I didn't see him. I think I must have been.
I saw him on the big screen. That was about it. I think in terms of the plot, because of, as I was saying, about how they're linked to this history and how their families and their bloodlines are all linked to this and this and this, it kind of focuses on them for a huge chunk of the second half of the film. But at the beginning, she's quite good. She's obviously a new character. She breathes a little bit of new energy into it, and she has this great robot sidekick called Squeaks.
You can see him
he looks like
but
Wally.
That's not a good shot of him.
He looks, you can't really see him. He looks like Wally, essentially, a little bit like Wally, kind of cutesy, and he's the sort of character that's there to sell toys, if you like.
And
he is, but yeah, they're both fine. I think she's quite good, but again, then he's not even in it a huge amount, as I say, because the action kind of moves to London and this stuff. He's the one that's always kind of chasing Mark Wahlberg down, so he's always like 3 steps behind, if you like. But they're fine. I will say Stanley Tucci's cameo at the beginning is very, very funny. You wouldn't know it was him unless you kind of...
Yeah, I did get to see about half an hour of footage a while ago, and so I saw that bit. There's Squeaks. Yeah, and I was a bit like, is that Stanley Tucci? And then, why is that Stanley Tucci? And hang on, how is that linked? Anyway, I think it was just a bit of a Michael Bay joke.
I think it was. Obviously, he has his own character in the previous movie. So when he's in this one, people thought, oh, he's just the same character. But no, he's someone completely different. But he's a good bit of fun at the beginning. He kind of gets the momentum of the film going in terms of having a bit of humour and everything else. But I kind of wish he was in it more, really. But hey.
So there we go. So that's Scott's thoughts, to be honest, on Transformers: The Last Night. We were lucky enough to attend the world or global premiere of Transformers: The Last Night on Sunday, and you can see our interviews with pretty much everybody from the red carpet there. And we've also chatted to Mark Wahlberg, Josh Duhamel, Isabela, Laura, and Jared Carmichael at the junkets for Transformers as well. So again, check out those on HeyUGuys.com or on our YouTube channel. Do let us know once you've seen it. It's out tomorrow, the 22nd of June in the UK. I'm not sure when it's out in the US, but when you've seen it, do let us know what you think of it. Obviously these movies, people must love them because they keep making them. They make an absolutely obscene amount of money. So if you are one of the people who loves it, tell us why. If you really hate it, also tell us why in the comments below. And as always, you can subscribe to our Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and Instagram on the standard links that are below in this video. And we'll see you next time on The Mouth Off. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.